Hi guys, and welcome back to Dream Queen. So, if you have any questions in regards to anything and what community I belong to and things like that, you can go ahead to the description. There'll be a link to a video that explains what I do. I call it PERLA'S gift, and in the video there's a short description as to what I call it. So I use water, fire, air, and I am earth. So I use all four elements to get a message over to you that I feel that God wants you to hear. Some people call it source, universe, whatever you feel comfortable with, you get to choose. I go more into details how I get the songs. Basically, they either get stuck in my head or they kind of make their way into my Spotify. Really depends who the message is more from. I tend to work more with energy, so if I do use oracle cards or tarot cards, I do not read cards. I do not know what anything really means. I know like certain things mean certain things, but I have not studied them. I go by what I feel. So if you're looking for something a little bit more traditional, then I'm pretty sure there's a ton of other people out there that you can resonate with. And I do sometimes talk about my dreams. Obviously, Dream Queen. So I spend about between 90 to 95, 96% of the time when I sleep actually dreaming. I have what society quote-unquote calls narcolepsy with cataplexy. There will be a link below as well to that channel. I do have a channel where I speak about it. And that's pretty much it. So this is a message from yourself. Your soul, yes. It was funny because yesterday I was gonna actually sit down and make a video, and I got busy doing things that were really not important, but that I felt that I needed to do. And there was a reason for it, because everything happens for a reason, right? So I remember I had posted, I think it was either Saturday or something like that. I had made the video Friday, or I don't know. The whole point is, if I'm not mistaken, Thursday night around 9-something p.m. I felt this, literally the ground shook. This huge shift. I had to like bend my knees and everything because I felt like I was falling off. And I have noticed that I tend to feel the shifts prior to them happening. Like I said, I don't really study a lot of things, certain things that I feel that are not at the moment something that I should be studying. Because just don't feel like it right now. Can't really lie. So I guess the 9/9 portal was open. I don't know if it was on 9/9 or 9/10 or whatever. The whole point was that I felt it before. And this has been happening. I always felt the shift prior to happening. Whereas before I wasn't exactly sure what was going on. I just thought I was going crazy. So I woke up yesterday with that song, not with the song, with the verse, and it kept just repeating, and it was something's brewing underneath it all. Something's brewing, something's brewing. And I'm like, I don't know any songs with those words or whatever. So I was like, all right, I'll look for it later, whatever. So I started looking, and I came across a song from 1980. I think it's like either between 1981 and 1987. Do not quote me. I'm not exactly sure. If I find the exact year, I'll put it in the description. And obviously I'm going to put the name and the singer and stuff, and I'm going to add it to my Spotify. But I think I'm going to make another playlist, maybe, because that one is getting a little too big, and I don't like them too big. And the song is basically What You See by Oingo Boingo, I think is how you say it. I don't know. I like that. And basically when he goes into the song, the lyrics is basically saying like what you see is what you get. But there is one verse, like one line where he says, what you see is not always what you get. And that kind of got me, because then the rest of the song, he just keeps saying what you see is what you get. And as I was reading through the lyrics as I was listening to the song yesterday, and I was like, you know, unfortunately, we tend to keep people around because we don't want to be alone. So when you choose consciously to keep people around you that you know are not allowing you to grow, cannot see the bigger picture in things, and always have a way of criticizing or trying to say things like under the surface, then you really cannot be mad at that person, because you're the one that is choosing to stay around that energy. Now, I understand I am Dominican, born, raised in the US, but I was born here. Came here when I was a month old. So I completely understand the cultural need to have to be around your family, to have to fit into a certain mold. I have never fit into that mold, hence why I have issues with everybody, not gonna lie. And it's not really issues, it's just, this is who I am. And if I am comfortable with who I am and how I am, how does that impact you or affect you so badly that you have to come across to make a point that I need to change? And yes, I still talk to my family, but my conversations went from probably an hour, 30 minutes to hi and bye, how are you? And, you know, just releasing love, peace, and everything to them, because the more we engage in and around the negativity, the doubts. So you cannot expect a person that does not believe in themselves to believe in you, who have doubts about their own self-worth, their abilities, to believe in your worth or your abilities. And I kind of feel like that's where a lot of the DFs are at the moment. So it's like, you know what you have to do, but you are so, and I don't want to say that it's just fear, because for some people it's not fear. Even though some of you are afraid to be alone because you still haven't gotten to the point where you love your own company. But that's another thing. If you have children, don't worry about it, they're gonna be fine. I mean, just because I choose not to engage in certain, and I mean, I'm not saying that you have to stop going to, you know, birthday parties or things, or, you know, whatever, like, you know, they have a celebration. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that if you go to these events, you don't have to engage in everything that everyone else is engaging. So you have to know yourself enough to stand in your power regardless of who you are around. So for example, for Labor Day, we had a cookout at my sister's. There were conversations that I have not engaged in for years, because if I'm not mistaken, it was probably like 6 or 7 more, probably like 8 years ago, I stated vocally my opinion on those things. So when those conversations are continue on having, I stay quiet and I just completely block it off, because I'm not gonna get dragged into that energy. Why? Because you guys already know how I feel about that. And if you continue to want to engage in that, then don't expect me to engage. Because I'm also not, because, you know, sometimes we want to defend our point of view so much, but then we're feeding that energy. So if you say something once is enough. Whoever is meant to understand it and hear it is going to hear and is going to understand it. After that, it's out of your hands, my love. And we cannot continue on trying to push to get people to see the truth about themselves, the truth about what's going on in this world. You have to be able to trust yourself enough to understand that. And it's a hard thing to do. I know. I'm not going to sit here. And like, that's one of the main things. Like, when I tell people to go over to my narcolepsy channel, it's not, first of all, I don't sell anything there or anything like that. It's the person you see standing, like sitting in front of you right here, making these videos and talking to you, like, person struggle. And those few videos that are there are not even 1/4 of the things that I have gone through. But I can't sit here and give you advice on something when if I am pretending that I have it all together, if I am pretending that I am perfect, if I am pretending that I'm living a fairy tale, or if I'm pretending that I never suffer, if I pretend that I never cried, or if I pretend that I never went through heartbreak or this or that, or if I pretend like I have never been suicidal, or I've never been depressed, or I've never been anxious. I'm an open book. I've cried in some of those videos. I share reactions that I had to medications, how things were going. I talk about literally throwing myself out of bed, rolling myself to literally hit myself on the floor so I can get up. But what happens? It was one thing that always used to trigger me. And it was because when I used to talk about waking up at 5 in the morning to exercise when I used to work, people used to be like, oh, I wish I could be a morning person. And that used to trigger me. But then I came to the understanding that they didn't know what I was going through, because they only saw my Facebook or Instagram 5 a.m. post, oh, ready for workout, or my 6 a.m., oh, did my workout, da. But they weren't seeing me struggling for an hour trying to get out of bed. They weren't seeing me going to bed at 9 p.m. every night so that I can try and wake up at 4 in the morning. They weren't seeing me struggling and crying and fighting myself, fighting my body to accomplish a 30-minute workout. All they were seeing were the results. And that's what's happening a lot, is that we are to focus on the end game. And I'm being honest, I don't even think I'm going to use the water for this. We are to focus on the end game, on what it is, the big picture. But while we are doing that, especially those of us that have chosen to come online and try and help the collective, we have to be an open book in every aspect of the way. Do I curse? Yes. Do I get mad? Yes. Yes. I am still human. I am still in a human body. The point is that we need to get to the ability to that we recognize when we're getting to that point. Or if we get to that point, we recognize our part in it and take responsibility for it and fix the situation right away. Because avoiding confrontation is also not the issue. Because, like I said, a lot of people want to say, oh, just don't engage, don't this, don't that. Some people need to be put in their place. And what you have to understand is when somebody's giving you pushback and they're seeing that you're not backing down, eventually, depending on who they are, what the energy is, they let it go. But if a person says something and it destroys you, or it makes you feel a certain way, or it hurts you in a certain way, you're giving that person power, not just over you, but over all the other people that are around you. All the other energies that are around you are also going to feed into that. Because now it's not just one person that's afraid of them, it's you, it's the two people next to you, and then it just spreads like a virus. So if you know who you are, then you stand in your truth. And no, you don't have to, I'm not saying like to go into an argument. But there are ways to have conversations where we're not screaming at each other. We're not yelling to see who can be the loudest. Because I could be loud. I know, I can get very loud. I say it's a Dominican thing. But we are each stating our truth and understanding that at some point or another, we can agree to disagree. We can. And it's the truth. We could... You have your truth and I have mine. And it's all based on our perception. Now, I sit here, yes, and I openly say what I feel that is coming through, the messages that I feel that have to come through. I don't wish anybody, and I'm being completely honest, to ever go through half the shit that I've been through. Mentally, physically, literally, or emotionally. Why? because it's fucking hard. It is. No, it literally, like, you know how people say, oh, something like, you know, oh, it broke me to the core. I didn't even have a core. Like, I had to rebuild even that part of myself. So when I sit here and, you know, sometimes, yeah, I'll seem like I'm getting angry or like I'm getting loud. It's not that. It's just I'm passionate about what I'm doing, and I'm passionate about the message that I want to get across. And sometimes that part of me comes out like, you know, like, can you just freaking get it? Like, go watch this and look at it. Learn from my mistakes so that you're not making the same mistakes that I made. You get what I'm saying? But as a wise man told me, my daddy, he told me once, nobody, in Spanish, nadie aprende con la cabeza de nadie. So nobody learns from someone else's head. So everybody has to learn on their own. But if we can, in an essence, come on here and give you guidance so that you're able to recognize the changes that you need to work on. Because I'm not saying that you need to change anything, but it's more of like changing our perspective, changing the way that we view things, and then everything starts to come into alignment. Now, you have free will just like everybody else does. So you choose what it is that you want to do. But the energy right now for the Divine Feminine is that I feel is that it's like a lot of you, one, are going to start seeing everything that has been buried underneath inside of you. It's going to start coming out. And when you're purging multiple things at once, like huge purge, it takes a toll not on just your spirituality or your whatever you want to call it. It takes a toll on you physically, emotionally, in every single aspect of the way. Like, I've had days where I would be in bed for like 3 days and vomit, and like my body is just purging everything. And it's, you know, is it worth it? Yes. To me, it's worth it, because I have gone back and seen some of the videos that I posted from like last year on my other channel, and that person had days where she couldn't even get out of bed. That person got to a point where she felt so worthless because she couldn't go back to work. That person felt like all she wanted to do was die. Spend more than half of the year being suicidal, wanting to kill herself, because she honestly thought that her family and her kids would be better without her. So is putting in the work, is pushing forward, is working on me worth it? Yes. Is working on you worth it? Yes. So why are we still holding on to all this fakeness around us? To the fake. Because everybody puts on a show for everything. Everywhere you go. Everywhere. You go to the store, people have to be nice to you if they're selling you things. Like, nobody's allowed to be just themselves. And if they are just themselves, then they're rude, they're mean, they're whatever. You know what? We're not perfect. We're not always going to be completely happy. There's going to be days where we're going to wake up and something is going to hurt, and we're just going to be in a mood that I just want to be in bed. You don't owe anybody an explanation. And that was my hardest thing, was I was such a go person that I would go on 3 and 4 hours of sleep. So what I thought, because I was sleeping most of the time when I didn't realize it. But I was such an automatic behavior with everything that I felt that sleeping was a waste of time. And now I am still struggling with the fact that I don't have to, I catch myself when I say, like, if I'm at an event or something, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to go home. Oh, why? I'm going to go home. So it would be like, oh, I got to go take a nap because this and this. No, I'm going home. Or if I'm in my house and somebody comes over and, you know, we're hanging out, whatever, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to go take a nap. Well, none of your business. I know that I need a nap. My body knows it, my soul, my mind. So I'm going to go take my freaking nap. Why do I have to explain my decision to go take a nap to you? And this is the problem, is that we are constantly taught, yeah, through everything that we do, that we have to give an explanation to everybody about everything that we do. No, I can explain something and clarify something to you if I feel the need that you didn't understand what I meant. But if I'm in my house, I don't give a damn if I woke up 10 minutes ago. If my body's telling me, you, go take a nap because you need it, I'm going to go take a nap. You want to know why? Because it may be that for the next 2 or 3 days, I'm going to be up with 10 or 15-minute naps in between. So we need to learn to listen to our body. We need to learn to listen to our soul and stop worrying so much about what other people are telling us and about what other people are wanting us to do. Because your soul is crying out for you to just stop. Yeah, I got the water here and the candle. See? I'm looking at it from like the corner of my eye. So I'm going to end this video here, and then I'm going to do a quick reading for the DFs.